I've now removed the motor, which is a pretty heavy piece of metal, and that is one of the reasons to have the concrete weights on. And I'm now going to remove the 4 bolts that support the concrete blocks and take that off. They're pretty free moving because they're not corroded in. There's only that one that's got a bit of rust on, and I can see a tiny fracture in the concrete block there, which doesn't bode too well for its future life when it was running. Nice little 8mm bolts there, which are always worthwhile keeping. Now at the moment the weight of the block is being taken on these 2 supporting ears, so as long as I hold the block in at the top, it shouldn't fall down onto my feet, he said, hopefully. Right, so let's see what it does. Yeah, that's the first one off. 1 concrete counterweight. And the only reason to have those, besides to counterbalance the motor weight, is that when the thing spins up to its high RPM, you have to damp out the vibration, otherwise the whole thing bounces about. With the bicycle attached, I'm never going to achieve more than 1000 RPM. I'm never going to get near to 100 RPM, so perfectly okay, no need for it, it's just surplus weight. I'll now have a look at the other side of the machine, and for that I'll have to take this side panel off. So I'll set to, get it out and see if I can get access to the other concrete block. One thing I've just noticed, and I meant to say before about removing the side panel, is that at the front face of the machine, just at the bottom here, there is a screw to remove before the side panel comes off, otherwise you won't be able to remove it. So always look for hidden, in this particular case, bolts that are going to make it difficult for you to remove anything. Let's get the side panel off now. Yes. There's 3 little ears, plastic ears, and I noticed yesterday when I got that side panel off, hey presto, it broke one of the ears off. Not that it matters. Right, there's a second concrete block and a load of pointless wiring for the heater, which we're now no longer going to use, so I'm probably going to cut out a lot of that. You can see how the drum is bouncing about now because it's on these suspension springs. And what I'll do, and one of the things I noticed with the old design, was that the drum wasn't adequately anchored, so that with the turning moment caused by the drive mechanism of the bicycle, it was actually twisting the whole drum and the chain would slip off the sprocket. So what I intend to do is fix this drum in position a little bit like they use for the bracketry for transporting these kind of washing machines. So it locks the drum in position so it won't bang about when it's on the lorry. Well, we're not achieving the speed that would be normally necessary for it to rattle like that. So I'm just going to secure it in one position so it's fixed and we won't get the problem with the chain sliding off the sprocket. Right, another 4 very useful 8mm bolts, and let's see if we can get him. He'll come. There we are. And the machine is almost floating. It is really incredibly much lighter. So when it's on its fixed pallet, what I will do now, because I can actually move this, instead of 2 of us having to move it, I can move it myself very, very easily, is I will anchor it to the pallet so that the bicycle chain will not pull it towards the bicycle, so it will be fixed down. All in all, very satisfactory, nicely removed, and well, it's about a shopping bag weight now, so not heavy at all. The other thing I should point out before we go any further, besides the dust at the bottom of the machine, is the pump. For emptying the machine, we're not going to use the pump. Obviously it's not going to be connected electrically. We just use good old Newtonian gravity, i.e. you just need to lower the drainage hose below the point of the machine and it will empty. Now the pump is not going to do a lot, it's not going to impede the flow very much. With the other machine I had a leak in this tube, so I actually connected this tube directly to the drain outlet, but I shall leave it as it is at the moment, keep it as simple as possible. It will run out through there, so emptying is no problem, but just remember to pick the hose up before you start putting more water in. I've had an idea about how to stiffen up the drum, and what I need is some metal brackets. Now rather than going out and cutting some metal, I have things that could be suitable here, but they're in the concrete. So wearing safety glasses, pair of gloves, and a fairly light hammer, I'll just split the concrete and see what these brackets are like. They may do the job, and that will mean I won't have to go and look for some steel. So let's just give it a gentle tap, or perhaps a not so gentle one. And there's a suitable length already. Oh yeah. Right, well all I need to do is break the rest of this concrete off. These seem to be attached to a steel frame which is supporting the concrete, so if I cut those off, hey presto, I've got 4 brackets already drilled with the right size hole to fit through the threaded hole on the side of the drum, and I can attach that to either the front or the rear panel of the washing machine, and that should stiffen up the drum so it won't twist when I start pedalling. That's good news. So another little bit of handy recuperation there. So there's all the 4 brackets revealed to the light of day, and now I'll just get the hacksaw and separate them from their parent. Timber! And there we are, 4 very serviceable metal brackets, pre-drilled. They just need a second hole and they need to be bent into position, but very, very useful and free. I'm now ready to measure up for making and putting the brackets in place. Prior to doing this, what I've done is I've just put the washing machine, it was already on a pallet, but I've also put it onto a support board which I've levelled. So now the washing machine is actually sitting dead level. I've checked it with a spirit level. That means that the whole thing is suspended now plumb vertical, so that the brackets will be holding it in the position where everything is in its most relaxed state. It's a nice way of just keeping everything not under tension. It just wants to be clamped in place so it's nicely at rest. There's nothing going to be forcing the metal plates out of distortion while it's just sitting there doing nothing. So now I'll measure up and make these brackets.